A thread by Thomas Wichter at social.quodverum.com. The good thing about today, referring to the events of January 6th, is that finally we can see clearly who actually cares about us and who only wants us to suffer due to their rage at the world. Link in the thread to Breitbart.com. Ann Coulter, election's over. Here's the truth about Trump. Quote, in the greatest bait and switch in American history, he promptly turned his presidency over to Nimrods Jared and Ivanka while he watched TV and tweeted. Suddenly, the populist hero was replaced with two idiots who were all about being friends with the Kardashians and sucking up to Goldman Sachs, end quote. Slight problem, you Jew-hating witch. Jared Kushner was envoy to the Middle East. He crafted all the deals that finally ended the eternal wars. Kushner was also instrumental in bringing Qatar out of Iran's clutches. Ivanka goes all around the world and leverages her power in order to get equal rights for women. Coulter is obviously a closet leftist. Her role is to give all conservatives a bad name. Imagine writing that all Trump did was watch TV and tweet. I was never a fan of Coulter, but now I hold her in total contempt and hope she loses everything. Think about what happened today. Congress did two things. One, certified an obviously fraudulent election in order to restore trust in our democracy. Two, punished all of us in retaliation for the actions of a few. This is why I don't trust anybody in Congress. Anyone with an ounce of personal integrity would have fought tooth and nail to expose the fraud. But instead, Congress made it all about them. We're expected to take it on the back again, take it in the neck again. That's not going to happen. The mistake they all made was removing any reason for Trump to spare any of them. Only Pence, Cruz, Hawley, and a couple of others said anything that shows even the slightest interest in the good of the country. Scrolling. Pence is correct when he says that the constitutional processes must be followed. I'm positive that Trump was engaging in strategic deception from the night the election was stolen. In other words, nothing he said can be taken at face value. If you think about it, every avenue Trump pretended to explore was too small. It wouldn't have changed anything. By blowing up the Democratic Party and taking out multiple Republicans, he changes everything. I've been trying to think of an analogy for where we are, and the best one I can think of is the case of the flight mechanics and the B-17. When the Japanese overran the Philippines, they simply couldn't get everyone off the islands. Men had to be left behind. The last airplane had taken off, and a dozen or so flight mechanics were left behind. There was a B-17 graveyard, so they cobbled together a flight-worthy bomber and successfully flew it to Australia. None of them had ever flown an aircraft, but they talked to pilots, and they knew which parts of the plane did what. So they took off, navigated, and landed by committee. It was 1,000,000 to 1 chance, but they pulled it off. Some men refused to risk it. They ended up in the Bataan Death March. The men who made the flight figured they had nothing to lose. See, all of Congress will lose their social lives, influence, free food, free booze, and sexual favors if they stand with Trump. But Trump knew when he became president that he had nothing to lose by attempting 1,000,000 to 1 operations. I'm happy to be with him every step of the way. In World War I, weapons that did the least damage caused the most psychological terror. flamethrowers, and attack aircraft. The Germans flew along 6 feet above the ground, tossing hand grenades into trenches. It made entire regiments retreat in total disorder. 4 attack aircraft broke up an entire division. The aircraft flew so low that you couldn't see them coming. They were on top of you before you knew it, and a hand grenade would land in your lap. Same with flamethrowers. They made people surrender without a fight. Psychological terror. Too many of us give in to fear. We don't stop to think about what's actually happening, and we don't stop to think that just maybe there was a counteraction prepared. My brother has given up, so I find myself alone. But I don't care. Nothing scares me. It's because I always stop to think. I didn't foresee the election theft because it's so stupid. They left a trail 5 miles wide. They hooked everything up to the internet. That means Trump has it. Period. I will now enjoy Ann Coulter having to eat a crow the size of an aircraft carrier. Anyone who thinks she's on your side is a fool. She hates you because she hates everything. I don't begrudge anyone their self-loathing, but when they take it out on me, they deserve comeuppance. Coulter and the rest will get what they deserve.
I will be the greatest president that God ever created.